We're now going to take a look at insert values. Insert values is a very good way of adding multiple values to the timeline very easily. Instead of drawing or manually programming those values directly onto the timeline, we're going to move back to the mixes screen where we find access to our layer. I'm going to make some very nice, obvious changes to the media playing by changing the color, changing the geometry, and adding an effect. You'll see those changes have automatically been updated within the layer. However, move back to the timeline, the values have not changed within the timeline. Instead, we're going to use this function to insert those values into the timeline where we want. Always be very sure not only to select in time where you wish to insert these values, but also follow the hierarchy. I'm going to start by scrolling to 2 seconds down, and where 2 seconds meets layer 1, this is where I wish to insert my values. Right click, scroll to insert, and you will be given a wealth of options. Insert current value as fade. We'll take the values, place them into the layer, and fade all possible values from the start to this point. However, do the same, but this time insert current value as snap. The previous value will wait for 2 seconds and then snap to the values you've inserted. And finally, for the time being, we will also look at insert only changed values. This will notice only the values that I changed, including the color, the effect, and the zoom, and will only place these values into the timeline. This can be a very useful way of not adding too many values to the timeline that you do not need to be added. As previously mentioned, always be aware of the hierarchy. Take those steps out, move the timeline back to the start, and move my mouse just a few pixels lower by inserting here as a snap. Because I've only selected the color group, only the color values have been placed into the timeline. So a very minor change in position where inserting values can result in a major change on the output. So always take care to always select within the timings and within the hierarchy where you want to insert your values.